the program they're here to help at Levittown Public Library. And today we are very happy. We have Professor Bradley, Kellyanne Bradley from Molloy College at Emma. We're going to present this workshop. Let me take a few minutes just to introduce the speaker for today. The Professor Bradley is the clinical director of the Mental Health and Wellness Center at the Molloy College. And she's also an adjunct professor and teach the clinical mental health counseling. Professor Bradley is a licensed mental health counselor in the New York State and a national certified counselor. And she has a wide and variety of experience in counseling. And today we are very happy during this difficult time. The Molloy College can offer this workshop to show us how to cope and stay positive during this difficult time. Now I'm going to turn over the workshop to Professor Bradley.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cecilia, for that introduction. I appreciate you having us here, and we are so excited to be working with your community during these times. So thank you so much for that. So as Cecilia said, I'm Kellyanne Brady, a licensed mental health counselor, and we are here today as part of the Mental Health and Wellness Center at Molloy College. We've been reaching out to communities to help provide additional mental health resources and support during this very difficult time. So I want to commend you all and thank you all for being here. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce Emma. So she is a practicum student in the clinical mental health counseling program and providing counseling services at the Mental Health and Wellness Center as part of her clinical experience towards becoming a licensed mental health counselor. So we are really excited. Emma has a lot of information to provide you with and a lot of different things that she can talk about, but she's really here to meet with you and to answer any questions that you may have or address any concerns or thoughts that you may have. And, I'm going to turn it over to her in just a second, but I think that, I hope that this can be used as a space and an opportunity for everybody to connect with each other during these difficult times. So just a few, notes for today. I just want to grab up the rules if I can. Everyone can see that workshop suggestion slide right there. So just we're going to actually turn mics off probably for today because we have a smaller group, so that's actually nice. It can lend for some discussion between us all and provide for a little more flow of conversation. If that becomes problematic, I will jump in and just let you guys know that I might be muting mics and that you can unmute them at any time. But with just a small group, it's usually easier just to have a discussion. Emma, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think, regardless of like how you guys feel, if you feel more comfortable, like having your mic on and speaking and jumping in, like feel free to do that. Or if you don't want to have your camera on, you don't want to have your mic on and you'd rather just communicate with us through the chat, like that's totally cool. Feel free to do whatever is most comfortable and natural to you.
Absolutely, yes. So we do have the chat box and feel free to write anything in there. If you do write something in there, I can read it out anonymously if you send it to me privately too. So if you don't feel like sharing with the whole group, you can put it in there anonymously by sending it to me privately, and I can read it out loud with no names. And we just ask that you keep questions appropriate for the discussion and just be respectful of each other throughout the discussion. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Emma now. Emma, do you want me to leave the background up or do you want it to just be kind of on you?
I really don't have a preference.
All right, so I'm going to leave it up for a little bit.
Yeah, the graphics cute. I think it'll
I'm going to let you introduce yourself, tell a little bit more about yourself, and and then you can start off the discussion.
Yeah. So hi, I am Emma. I'm, like Kellyanne said, I am a student at the Molloy College Mental Health and mental health counseling program, and I'm an intern at the Mental Health and Wellness Center. And I really just like love talking to people about mental health and about whatever their concerns are. I think that what's currently going on with COVID and the current pandemic, it's a really stressful, difficult time for absolutely everyone. Like, no one is untouched by this. And I think that it's really important that we use this as a time to connect and share and talk about whatever it is that is going on. So I feel like if anyone is maybe having like any pressing issues or questions that they want to bring up, feel free to, say them, start them in the chat, or maybe I can pull out some topics for us to talk about. So feel free to say whatever it is that is coming to you at the moment, maybe if you'd like to start.
Okay, I'll start if that's okay.
Go for
My name's
it.
Melina. I'm actually from Kentucky, so not anywhere close to New York. But I decided to get on this because recently I've never been someone that's had a lot of issues with anxiety or depression. Very fortunate for that, but I do have mild to moderate OCD, and this whole situation has kind of affected that because I feel like my OCD manifests in like routines typically. And so being out of routine has really affected me, and I want to know if you had any tips for like keeping a good routine without it being like stressful for yourself or feeling like you have to force productivity.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point that like everyone's routines are disrupted, and especially for people who may have anxiety or OCD and that's really dependent on OCDs, like this is so incredibly disruptive. It's like, what do I do when I can't go to school during the day, or I can't go to work, or maybe I can't see my friends and participate in these extracurriculars? And even just beyond like the unease of not having that routine, a lot of those things bring us a lot of positivity to our mental health. So I think when it comes to establishing a new routine, the best thing to do is to break it down into like what parts of your routine do you want to keep up with, and what parts of your routine do you maybe need to like adapt to being at home more. So for example, maybe, you have like things that you have to do, like maybe you're still doing online schooling. So that's something to fit into your day, but you also want to make sure that you are getting up in the morning. I think that it's really important to maybe like take a shower, make your bed, have breakfast, something that allows you to have this sense of normalcy. And I think that's really what it's about. It's about sort of mimicking what you do in your everyday life when you're at home. So if you're typically going out with your friends on Friday nights, maybe it's a good idea to suggest you guys get together and have like a reoccurring movie night together, because there's a million apps out right now that let you do that. But I think that a lot of it is starting with like having that routine that can be adapted to your at-home schedule, like getting up and getting ready in the morning, fitting in the necessities that you have to do, but also making sure that you schedule in time for remaining social in the ways that we can and taking care of ourselves, engaging in the hobbies that we really like to. Is anyone else maybe experiencing some issues regarding like not having their same routine?
Oh, me, definitely. Like I'm not OCD, but I do really like routines. Routines make me feel safe. They make me feel comfortable. And just this whole pandemic has just, I feel like, turned my whole world upside down. Also, I'm just kind of feeling out of place and just like I ended a 3-year relationship like right before this happened, and I thought, oh, well, it's okay, like I'll have my friends, but now like I can't go see them, and it's just been really hard. And I know that, it's just a high school relationship, but like it was 3 years, and so it's just kind of been really hard. And like I do have I'm blessed to have like my family, but that's like different from like being able to be with your really close friends. So that's kind of something that's been really hard for me.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank you, Melina and Bailey, for just like being open and honest about your experiences. It's not easy to talk about these things at all. No. So I really appreciate that. And especially with you, Bailey, ending a 3-year relationship, that in itself is a big transition and something that comes with a lot of weight. And also having these other things that are on top of us, where everything else is disruptive and we maybe can't heal from something like that in the way that we normally would, that just makes it even more difficult. So I really hear you, and I understand how you're being like extra affected by this time. So I'm maybe wondering like what sort of things are helping you maybe feel grounded and like stay positive during this time.
I mean, I really enjoy reading like a lot. I love to read. I've loved to read ever since I was like little, but I just I'm struggling to find the joy in it more, just because I don't know, I just get really sad, and I'll be reading and then I'll like zone out on the page, or I'll read something and like it reminds me of that ex, and then I'll just like have to like put the book down. And I don't know, I've been watching a lot of Harry Potter. I've been coping.
Yeah, I can actually so relate to that. I totally started rewatching Harry Potter. I think I'm up to Order of the Phoenix. That's the next one I have to watch. But yeah, doing like feel good things like rewatching old favorite movies and engaging in hobbies that we really like is important during this time. And I think it's awesome that you're still persisting to do those things, even if they do come with some extra stressors or difficult feelings. I think that your love for reading is really important. And I appreciate you like keeping that up in this time when it must be really difficult.
I've just been trying to like focus on some activities that maybe like before, like when I was in this relationship, I kind of like put off to the side, and like trying to like old hobbies, and that it's been helping, but I don't know, it's just still really hard. And my family is there for me, but there's only so much they can do, so it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear that. And I think you make a great point with like trying to pick up things that maybe we had previously pushed off for other things. So I'm wondering if maybe anyone else here has like been using this as an opportunity to do something that they hadn't really been able to before the whole world shut down.
I can definitely say that I've done that. My passion is veterinary medicine. That's what I aspire to do in the future. And so I've actually started practicing some like simple sutures on a suture pad that I was gifted and I never had the opportunity to use. And so that's kind of allowed me to find a new skill that I'm really thankful for.
Wow, that's really awesome. I'm glad that you've had this time and the opportunity to really explore that. Yeah. Has anyone else maybe been using their time to do something that has been enjoyable, or maybe something that they used to love doing and now have the opportunity to, or something new that they tried?
So Emma, I just want to jump in here. So Sam did put in the chat, reaching out, I think, is super important now, even if you haven't in a while. Zoom is great for that. So thank you.
Yeah, Sam, that's a really great point. I think that is really a blessing that like we have technology in this time. I was thinking some time ago is like if this happened in like the 50s or in the 1800s, like the way that we communicate and are able to connect with people during a quarantine like this is so different. And it's really great that we have like our loved ones or like funny cat videos at the touch of our hand in order to like really benefit us in this time. And especially the reaching out to people and staying connected, seeing how others are doing and making sure that you're talking and doing stuff like this when you could use a little extra support is really important. Anyone else maybe having some concerns or general thoughts or experiences during this time?
I'm currently struggling to get motivated. Like, I'm currently isolated by myself, which I'm definitely not used to because I'm used to having roommates. And so I can't really keep myself in check very well. So it's hard to get me to do my college work that I need to do while trying to, I don't know, I guess feel like I have spare time to do other things too.
I'm a student too, so I totally feel you. I'm assuming you're in like some weird online class limbo. And I get that. I'm sensing some head nods, so maybe there's some other students here. And yeah, I totally resonate with that difficulty of finding the motivation. It kind of feels like we're like on vacation, but like not. Like the world is stopped, but it's still going. Yeah, Sam, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, for me personally, I found having a schedule, even though, listen, this time is crazy and nothing is scheduled, but just forcing myself to get up, forcing myself to take a shower, forcing myself to get dressed like I'm going to work, like those type of things, I found have been very helpful in motivating me, because I feel like when I'm in my pajamas all day, like I don't want to do anything. And so I feel like if I'm forcing myself, like I am one of the teen librarians at Levittown, so to be fully transparent. But I'm forcing myself to be, put myself in that routine that I normally would be in, has really helped me personally. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think establishing that routine, like we were talking about before, and doing the things that you would normally do is really important for keeping that motivation the same way that we would if we were still going to work in school. Something that has been like also my lifeline during this time is like to-do lists and just like writing everything down, whether it's like on paper to keep next to me or on my phone. I just like do all my to-do lists, and no matter how big or small the thing is, whether it's to, read this chapter for school or just clean my room, like putting those things on a to-do list to keep them in front of me really helps, because we're sort of like confined to the same environment every day. And maybe we don't have the same reminders that we would normally have if we had like our roommates around us, or we're like going out of our houses more often. So I think that keeping things that in present can also help you establish that routine. Has anyone else found any success in like keeping up motivation, or maybe like others are struggling with keeping up motivation for schoolwork and doing all the things we have to do?
I have something to share. This is Cecilia.
Hi, Cecilia.
Hi, I have something to share. Actually, it's a story about my son. My son currently is a college student. He has three very good high school friends and maintain contact, till now. They meet every Sunday, on the Google Hangout or FaceTime. They still share their experience during this difficult time. And then they talk about their college, what's happening in school, what happened to their friend. They still maintain their regular meet. And to him, this is very important. He needs to keep this contact with his best friend, especially during this time. I think that's a good idea. Every Sunday they meet just as usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's awesome, establishing like hangouts with your friends and whatnot. I've definitely had some of those, and they really help and make you feel like you're like connected with people. I think someone else also had something to say before.
Yeah, my high school actually, the counseling department has bi-weekly like meetings where anyone can participate and talk about mental health. And so I've been participating in some of those and listening to my peers. And it seems that a common trend is apathy. Things that people used to enjoy are no longer enjoying. I think Bailey touched on that. Or just in general, lack of motivation is also, they're just feeling apathetic. Like everything is just bleh. And I didn't know if you had any tips to kind of help to avoid such apathy. I think it's kind of sad when, you don't really care about things in a way that you used to, or are less passionate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw some head nods as we were all going through that, and it seems like people can totally relate to that feeling of like not being interested in doing the same things that you've been doing for like a month. We kind of like exhaust ourselves sometimes if we aren't able to switch things up, and I think that can really be the solution. Whether it's like watching like a movie or a TV show, like if that's what you like to do, maybe try watching something that's completely out of your comfort zone or something that you wouldn't normally pick up, but your friends have really recommended it. trying out new things. Like I see like everyone under the sun is making bread lately. Like no one's ever made bread before. So I think that using like the maybe like the extra free time you might have, even if it's like the littlest bit of time because you like don't have your work commute anymore, using that to like maybe try out yoga or take walks and just try things that you wouldn't normally do in your day-to-day life. I think that that can sort of maybe make you feel less bad about not enjoying the things that you like. Bailey, you had touched on before, like sometimes like you're zoning out or you're not enjoying a book as much as like you used to. Like I think that when we're doing the things that we normally like and we're not enjoying it as much, that can be kind of frustrating. It's like, this normally makes me feel better. Why don't I want to do this right now? And I think that sometimes it can be okay to just like put those classic loved interests to the side and try something new, because new can be exciting and it can awaken something in you that you didn't really ever know that you could enjoy or have a passion or talent for. So I think that to avoid apathy and to avoid getting in this like blah monotonous state, it is to like try and switch things up and do things that you wouldn't normally do. I had one more thing that I wanted to touch on about motivation, because it is like my savior and my number one recommendation always, especially when getting through like the loads of schoolwork that come at the end of the semester and the end of the school year, is like making sure you like set specific breaks and actually take them. There's a huge difference between saying like, I have to do this particular thing all day long and I have to spend my entire day doing it. It's very much different when you say, I'm going to do an hour's worth of that, and then I'm going to take 15 minutes and walk my dog. And then I'm going to work for another hour, and then I'm going to make myself a really nice lunch and sit down and read a book and enjoy that. I find that there's a lot of success in like using timers and like actually giving yourself an end point to the things that you need to do. Because then you can get excited. It's like, yes, thank gosh, like I got through this. I'm able to feel good because I accomplished something. And then I'm able to do something I enjoy that's going to refuel me and make me want to keep going. As a student myself, I find that there's like such a difference when I do that. Like I can even work longer than I normally would if I was like sitting at my computer, just like hunched over and hating my time doing it. If I'm able to switch it up and give myself some breaks, and allow my like brain to rest, that can really help me keep up the motivation to keep going even further than before.
Emma, could I jump in here with a suggestion?
Yes, I would love for you to.
So one thing that has helped me with apathy is practicing gratitude. And
ooh, so good. Keep going.
And that's something that I think, is really, it's really helped me a lot to stay focused on what is good and what's going well, as opposed to focusing on what's wrong. And what I've noticed is that when I spend more time and more energy on focusing on the things that I'm grateful for, as opposed to the things that are not going well, I do have room to kind of like help that grow and develop further, as opposed to getting, starting to feel that apathy when you get stuck in the negative. So what a couple of the ways that you could do that is, one thing is keeping a gratitude journal. So that would just be writing down a couple of things a day, 3 to 5 things a day, just to identify a few things that you're grateful for. So just starting with something, as simple as, my coffee tasted great this morning, or it's sunny out today. For those of you who are local to the Long Island area, the weather has not been ideal for this quarantining time. So, the days that it is sunny, the days that it is warm out, maybe that's something to be grateful for and focus on, and you can let that grow. It's sort of like lighting a fire. It spreads when you pay attention to it. So plant the gratitude seed, let that grow. And when your thoughts stay more focused on the gratitude, you tend to move away from that apathy. And also one thing that I started doing, knowing that this was going to be a time where we were going into a long period of time where we were going to be home and we were going to go through spring essentially here. I started taking a picture of the same tree every day to watch like it bloom. You know, it was sticks when we started in March, and then it was pink puffy petals at one point, and now it's starting to turn into leaves. So that was a really cool experience when I watch it in like a time lapse kind of way. It ends up looking really cool and kind of makes me happy to like reflect on that, like spring is still coming despite all this negativity going on. So you could even just do a photo gratitude journal just of different things that make you happy each day or things that you're thankful for each day. However you make it work for you, but the goal is really to be focusing on the things that you feel good about, that make you happy, and that you're happy is in your life. And that can help offset some of those feelings of apathy.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's such a great point. You know, I feel like sometimes when I hear about like, whether it's like gratitude or really like any type of, I'm not like a big journaler. I don't know if any people are, I'm not. So a lot of times like I hear like, write this thing every day. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm sure that would be really helpful, but like that's something that connects with me. But I love the idea of like a photo journal. I definitely think that's something that like I would really be interested in. I know when you also said like my coffee tastes great this morning, I was thinking the thing that I'm grateful for right now is tea. I am having like 4 cups of tea every day, and it is making me extremely, extremely happy. And so I'm really grateful that I have that to like ground me during this time. I'm wondering if anyone else has like something that maybe like in this discussion about gratitude, like they've thought about something that they're grateful for, whether it's like something big, something that you think like everyone is grateful for, or something that's really like small and minimal that just like you're really happy that you have in this time.
I'm honestly just grateful not to be sick right now.
Mm-hmm. That's such an important one. And really when I think that is important for all of us to, you know, take a moment to think about. It's really important to be grateful for our health and for the health of our loved ones. Awesome point. Mm-hmm. Anyone else maybe have something that they are grateful for during this time?
I'm grateful to be able to spend more time with my animals because I have 3 dogs and a cat, and it's been nice to like, you know, I'm just stuck at home. It's been nice to just spend so much time with them, and I know they're happy. I know they really enjoyed going on walks, so that's been nice.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm really grateful for is I actually live on a farm, and usually during the school year it keeps me pretty busy, and I feel like I don't appreciate the fact that I'm actually really blessed to be able to live in a space where I can enjoy the outdoors like that. And so I feel like this has made me more appreciative for the outdoor space.
That's really awesome. First off, Bailey, I think it's so awesome that like you're able to spend time with your pets more. I don't have any pets at the moment, and so I keep thinking, I'm like, I wonder if everyone else's pets is like, if they're loving their owners being around all the time, or if they're like, oh my God, why are you invading my space? But I'm glad that at least you really get to benefit from it, and I'm sure your dogs do as well. And Melina, first off, super cool that you live on a farm. And second off, I really like that appreciation for nature. I feel like that goes also back to what Kellyanne was saying about that tree that she took photos of, which I would love to see that time lapse. That sounds very relaxing. So yeah, I think that that's awesome. And I also, this morning I like opened my window, and it's been really windy by me at the moment. And I just like had so much wind blowing in today, and it felt really refreshing and nice. And I feel like that's not something I ever value, because I'm always like fighting against it to get to the next place that I need to go. Very cool. Anyone else have like any pieces of gratitude that they want to share? Or you could just think about it in your head. Like, that's cool too. You know, don't ever feel like you have to.
In the chat too, so that everybody can see if you don't want to share it. Every little bit, you know, helps. And when you get an idea flowing, somebody else might benefit from that. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm grateful for that too. Just sort of like we just did, like with the coffee led to the tea, which led to the thought of the pets. And, you know, they all kind of connect. We do have another question in the chat, so maybe I could pose that to you, and we'll come back and shout out some gratitude stuff if anybody adds that. So Bailey was wondering, do you guys have any tips with productivity guilt? Great question.
Kellyanne, maybe do you want to maybe start with that one, or do you want me to jump in?
You know, it's up to you, really. Well, I could start off, and then maybe if you want to jump in, you could do that.
Listen, I'm the queen of productivity guilt, so I have so much to share, but please feel free to share.
Well, maybe, you know, you actually had touched on some of the things, so I don't want to be too repetitive. Productivity guilt is, you know, accepting what you can do and being okay with that. And I think my biggest tip for that, and then I'll let Emma kind of take over on that, but my biggest tip is limit your social media consumption. The less you know about what other people are doing, it eliminates the guilt completely. It's not even, there is no such thing as productivity guilt if you don't know what other people are doing. And there, you know, it's like we're supposed to have this, you know, epiphany and this miracle time where we're gonna come out these better people. Like maybe some people just need a break. Maybe some people just need some extra sleep, and that's okay too. And you have to be okay with what you do with this time, and you have to feel good about who you're going to be coming out of this as, and that's what's important. So that's my take on it. And I think that as long as I think our overall goal is to stop comparing ourselves to each other, so that we can be truer to ourselves and do what's best for us, because what's best for your neighbor down the block and the person across town is not what's best for you. So putting yourself first during this time is my recommendation.
I think that's really important. Yeah, so I had an experience the other, maybe a week ago or something. Like I had posted an Instagram story talking about how it was like 2 a.m. and I was stressed because I hadn't done anything productive with my free time all day. And my friend replied and was like, well, that's why it's called free time. And I was like, wow, like I had never thought of it that way. You know, we honestly, we could get into a whole conversation about how our society fuels our need to be productive with every ounce of our day, and how that is like an institutional problem within itself, but we don't really have time for that. But when it comes to like our taking it on a more personal level, like I think that's really important to recognize that like our free time is supposed to be free. We are supposed to be able to make the decision if we want to relax and lay in bed and scroll TikTok for an hour, or if we want to, you know, use that time to be creative, if we want to cook something, or if, you know, we're better off popping something in the microwave and watching something on Netflix. Like that's what free time is about. So I think that, you know, as someone who experiences a lot of that productivity guilt myself, I find that like being intentional about my free time is really helpful in eliminating that guilt, because I think a lot of my guilt comes from when I am like, you know, either like avoiding doing something that I need to do because it's bringing me anxiety, and I don't, you know, like by doing it, I'm like confronting that anxiety. And so I'd rather like lay in bed and avoid it and pretend like it's not happening. And then I feel guilty because I spent my time doing that instead of doing my work. But if I am able to like set an actual time for me to like do that rest and recuperating and sort of like mental chill down that I need to do in order to actually be productive and get my work done in the time frames that is appropriate and realistic for me, setting that time can really eliminate some of that guilt, because then I am more productive in that time. I think it's all about being intentional and making sure that we are self-caring and relaxing and taking time for ourselves by doing that in the first place, and not just needing it afterwards when we're already stressed and exhausted and fatigued. So yeah, I think that what Kellyanne said, like not comparing yourself to others and not worrying about what other people are doing with their time, and instead focusing on yourself, and then being very intentional about making sure you have that time to rest and relax and do nothing. And along with that, giving yourself permission to do that, which is a scary thing. And I think a lot of people who do experience productivity guilt is they don't give themselves permission to have that time. And to just like, as a reminder, like it's, you know, we're human, we get tired, we need breaks, we need entertainment, we need to sit and relax and be social. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to be our full potential in the aspects of our life that we need to be productive in. But just, you know, giving yourself that permission to relax, I think is another really important thing to keep in mind. Kellyanne, do we maybe want to see if anyone else has any other questions or
Sure. Yeah. Anybody
comments,
have any other?
concerns?
Do you guys have any tips on reducing like screen time or reducing time spent on social media? Because like I find myself sometimes I'll just be in bed and I'll just be scrolling, and then I look at the clock, it's like, oh, 2 hours have passed.
Mm-hmm. I actually definitely have one. And I know for a fact if you have an iPhone that has it, I would assume any other smartphone has it as well. But if you go into like your settings, you have the ability to like set time limits on apps. So I know the iPhone one really well because I use it, but you're able to like give yourself, it gives you kind of an alert when it's like you have like 5 minutes left on your schedule for the day. And then you have the opportunity to snooze it. So it's not like it locks you out, but it gives you the reminder that like this is popping up, like you've hit your limit for the day, maybe go do something else. And I think that reminder in itself is really helpful. And maybe if your phone doesn't have that capability, you know, you can set a timer elsewhere as well. There's a bunch, you know, you can literally type in Google timer for 30 minutes and you're set. That's all you have to do. So I think it comes back to just like having that mindfulness to be present in the moment before you open the app and to say like, I'm going to do this for a certain amount of time. And I think that also like, it's important that like, if you are setting limits for yourself, to like be gentle with yourself about them. You know, like we know when we're kind of like going against ourselves and we're maybe like, if we said we were going to do something for 30 minutes, you know, we end up watching like 6 episodes. We know when we're abusing that power with ourselves. So maybe if you hit your limit and you want to go for another 5-10 minutes, like that's okay. You know, you're not a bad person or lazy or have no self-control because you didn't hit that exact limit and follow it. Like be gentle with yourself with it. That's my personal tip, is setting timers and you know, giving yourself that thought in beforehand that like I don't want to spend too long doing this because I know it doesn't make me feel good.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
To piggyback on that a little bit, one thing that I found that is helpful for me was to have alternatives that are go-tos and accessible that are not devices.
Oh, that's great.
As many of you have experienced, your screen time has only increased exponentially with school and communicating with friends. Maybe you're FaceTiming instead of just talking on the phone or whatnot. I'm staring at a screen all day doing Zoom meetings like this. So one thing that I found is that I was getting extremely exhausted by being super connected electronically and virtually all the time. So I actually ordered two physical paper books. I don't know the last time I got actual books, but I have books that I can, you know, actually pick up and hold and read, and it doesn't have glare, and I feel like it's something tangible. It's something I'm holding. And, you know, one of the grounding exercises we talk about is the 5 senses, and it's engaging your sight, your touch, your hearing, your smell, your taste. So when I sit down with an actual physical book, I'm engaging all of my senses too, and letting my imagination kind of go with the book too. So I think that's been super helpful to disconnect, is having something other than devices to go to, because we have everything on devices now. Our games are on device. I mean, I love doing puzzles, and my puzzles are on my iPad. So it's about finding and having those things. Like I was like, oh, I want to get a puzzle so that I could do a real puzzle. Like, but there's nowhere to get a puzzle right now, or you're not supposed to go get a puzzle right now.
Nope. I have been seeing so many people doing puzzles lately. It's baking bread and puzzles. I'm telling you, it's like the top 2 quarantine hobbies at the moment.
But
So,
yeah, anything that. So what maybe that could be a goal for all of you tonight is maybe find one thing that you can do that doesn't involve a screen and kind of have it as your go-to that's next to you. Because our go-to is, you know, our phones and our iPads are always right next to us, right? So when we have downtime, what do we immediately do? We pick up our phones. So maybe if you have, you know, a pen and paper next to you instead, you can sketch a little bit if you like drawing instead of the going to your phone. So something to think about. Maybe you can consider what you have around you that doesn't involve a screen.
Thank you. That was so helpful. I feel so much more motivated to like read a physical book because I've just kind of been, sorry, I have a cat. I've been kind of just reading from my Kindle, but I feel like if I actually physically picked up a book, it'd just be so much more motivating. My friends actually, when the breakup first happened, the next day they were like, oh, so you're going to be getting some packages on your doorstep. And I was like, okay. And I opened it and they went on my TBR shelf on Goodreads and they like, oh, she hasn't read this. Let's get her this book and this book. And so I feel like I'm going to pick up one of those books now tonight. I'm sorry for my cat.
No, don't apologize. My go-to non-screen thing is dance parties. Oh my goodness, I dance all day long and it is so great. Whether I'm doing a TikTok dance that I learned, or I'm choreographing myself, or I'm literally just dancing like nobody's watching. They bring me a lot of joy, and I do them all day long, in between all the stuff I have to do, and it's really been keeping me sane during this time. So that's definitely my screen-free self-care little hobby for quarantine.
An activity that I really enjoyed, kind of piggybacks on the gratitude thing, but is writing physical letters to people, even if you text them all the time. I think writing a physical letter is, it's really personal, and it's also something grounding that doesn't have to do with a screen other than a text. Plus, it's just really nice to get a letter in the mail from somebody and support the USPS. So.
That's awesome. I love that idea.
I've been reading a lot. I know, Emma, you always recommend My Dark Vanessa. So I actually ordered that and I read it and it was my favorite book ever. It was so good. So
wow, I'm so happy. It's a great book. It's very intense, but it's a wonderful book. I'm really glad you liked it.
So good.
Any other thoughts on things that you can do without screens? Maybe we could spark up some ideas for those who are maybe looking for inspiration.
Maybe going on a walk if you're able to, and maybe listening to some music while you do it, or listen to a podcast if you're able to.
Or baking, I know, helps a lot of people too.
Baking, I love being able to clean my space and taking a couple minutes to just put my clothes away, or to straighten up, bring the cups and snacks and stuff that I've strewn across my room and put it back in the kitchen. I'm personally the type of person where it's a clean space, a clean mind, that really helps me. And it gives me the opportunity to take a few minutes to do something physical to get my body moving, and to not be so attached to my phone like I am all the time.
Today I reorganized a drawer and I color-coded it as my non-screen time activity. So that's always fun.
That's awesome. Mia, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I've actually found a lot of solace in bullet journaling. I'm not too good at art, and but I found usually books are where I turn when I feel so anxious, but recently I found that I'm having trouble focusing, so bullet journaling has helped me kind of get back on track and express myself in a different way.
That's really awesome. I think bullet journaling is so cool. I don't have the skill to do it. And I think it's especially cool when people who don't feel like the artsiest type are able to do it and find joy and fulfillment in it. especially because that's also like it's kind of like part creativity, part planner and organization, and it makes that fun and new and exciting. So it's really awesome.
I'd say if you live with like your family, maybe like if you guys have any, like break out some old like board games, like some board games like Jenga or Uno or Connect Four. Like my family and I have been having like little game nights every night after dinner. So that's something that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, that's a super cute idea. I love that. Anyone else have any other questions or concerns related to the time? Again, you can feel free to put them in the chat as well.
And just because we have just a few minutes left, I do want to put up this last screen just in case you need any additional information from us, or if you need to get in contact with us for any reason. I want to kind of have this up so you can write down our contact information in case you need it.
Super cool.
But we still have a couple of minutes in case anybody else has any other questions or anything they want us to discuss.
Mm-hmm. One other thing that I would love to pop in really quickly, and if anyone else has anything to talk about, feel free to let us know. I think that related to the pandemic, like it's just like really important to, you know, stay connected with people, whether it's the people that, if you have people that you're currently at home with, or people that, you know, your friends that you can text or write physical letters to, or have like Zoom parties with, like fostering that connection with people, making sure that you're like staying social in a time of social distancing, I think is really important, and making sure that you do reach out and, you know, try and muster up the strength to talk when you are struggling, because there's people that are out there that are willing to listen and are happy to help.
And if I could just jump in here too, one item that I'd love to have you all think about as we end today is, you know, thank yourself for coming today. Thank yourself for connecting to this, and to, you know, be proud of yourself for wanting to connect, wanting to jump in on the conversation, wanting to be open and vocal and discuss, or whether even if you just listened. Thank yourself and be proud of yourself for taking that time for yourself today.
Any more questions for Professor Bradley and Emma?
Thanks so much for doing this, y'all.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. I really appreciate it. You guys had such insightful things to offer. And I hope that any of you who brought questions, whether you said them aloud or not, maybe you had some concerns that you didn't want to share, but I hope that this conversation was helpful for you. I know it was for me. But really, thank you for coming, and feel good about the fact that you came and chatted and talked about this whole situation in a time when it's really hard to talk about it.
Yeah, some of the things that y'all mentioned, I'll definitely be sure to mention in our next mental health session with our counselors. I think there's a lot of good discussion here that I think will help a lot of other people, and if I can pass that along, I'm really glad I can.
Awesome. Very, very awesome. And I meant to say that before, I think it's super cool that your school has those mental health sessions with your counselor. That's really amazing.
Okay, thank you, everybody. If you don't have any more questions, we really appreciate you coming for this workshop. We especially thank for Professor Brady and Emma for this, give the wonderful advice and strategy on how we can do during this difficult time. I just want to take a minute. If you can go to our Levittown website, you can see we have some good, interesting program during this time, like the May 4, we have like a cartoon drawing. If you're interested in draw the comic, we have artists here on the Zoom. You can sign up on our website. And also, a lot of people, they start to make their own movie, their own film video clip at home. And we have a program help the teen how to edit your film, make your own movie during this time. That is on the May 6th, Wednesday. And May 7th, that we have a college application workshop on the Zoom. So welcome everybody to go to the website and sign up. And we're talking about reaching out and make friends. We do have a tab, the Teen Advisory Board for the Levittown. Even you not belong to the Levittown School District, you're still welcome to make new friends. And that will be on the May 15th. If you're interested about it, you can contact the Levittown Library. The email is teens@levittownpl.org. You want the interest to coming in to the Zoom meeting and making new friends, you're very welcome. So today we thank you everybody to come here. There has been a very productive night, and I learned a lot from your conversation. For each one have a good idea. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Stay
Thank you for
healthy and
hosting.
stay safe.
Yes, thank you,
You
Cecilia.
too.
Thank you for having us.
And seriously, thank you all for coming. It was really nice chatting with you and meeting all you guys.
I learned a lot. Thank you.